Hello and welcome back to WD18, the Watford fan channel, and welcome back to another match reaction. This time we'll be reviewing Watford 1, Rotherham 1. I personally believe it's 2 points dropped, but we'll be dissecting everything throughout this video. We'll be doing player ratings and we'll be discussing William Troost-Ekong's impending exit from the football club. Charlie's also got a round of agree to disagree. Just mentioned his name. Charlie, how are you, mate?
I'm good. How are you? I know you were down at the Vic yesterday. What was it like? What was the atmosphere like?
Yeah, it was good. It was a bit of a weird one, actually. I mean, it sort of started off quite. It was quite good at the start. I think everyone was sort of in a good mood following last week's game. Sort of as the first half went on, it got a bit quieter, but the second half, I thought the atmosphere was actually quite good again. But you know, we'll talk about perhaps why that was throughout. First comment here that I've seen actually is, has Jacob joined the injury list? He's got exams at the moment at uni, but I think he said he should be back for next week's videos as well. But we miss you, Jacob. I'm sure you're watching this, mate.
We're missing him like
to
João Pedro. Watford are missing João Pedro.
Exactly. Jacob Coleshaw is WD18's João Pedro. But let's get on to talking about the game yesterday. We'll come on to the lineup when we do the player ratings, but Watford sort of started the game, I thought, quite well. Mario Gaspar hitting the post with a really nice effort before Rotherham started to grow into it, I think, forcing Dan Backman into a really good save. But let's break down Rotherham's goal, first of all. I thought, personally, it was quite preventable. Who was it who scored it for them? What's the guy's name?
Ferguson.
Yeah, so Ferguson. So his goal, I thought it was quite preventable quite a bit. Charlie, have you got any sort of immediate thoughts with the goal?
Yeah, watching it back, I think Martins maybe could have done a bit better. I think he let him just come inside to get a cross in. I actually think in the build-up, I think Kone was quite unlucky.
Yeah.
It looked like he won the ball in the centre of the park, and then he got away from him, went out wide, and I thought Martins could have done better to try and prevent a cross. To be fair, I'm not expecting a Brazilian 19-year-old to be that defensively astute, to be honest. Cross comes in, and I think if Dan's watching it back, I don't know if it's a communication thing on the back line, but I don't know if he needed to go for it. I don't know if the left back should have been attacking it as a header. And it's just Dan Backman's got a touch in it, and it's just fallen to the man who's put it in.
Yeah, I think Backman probably saw it a bit late, but I still think he's got to be doing better with that. Particularly, we sort of saw a similar-ish save a few minutes before that. I think both of them came from Fosu, who caused us trouble all afternoon, and probably he should have won it at the end. Again, we'll come on to that. But as you say, you mentioned all of those names. I thought it was a combination of, first of all, I thought Kone probably should have done a bit better in terms of getting the ball away. There was a 50-50 in there. I didn't think he was aggressive enough and didn't get out to his man quick enough as well. And ultimately, the Rotherham player was able just to skip past him quite freely. I thought Martins gave Fosu way too much space to come inside and put in a shot. He's got to be doing much better there. And finally, I think Dan Backman's got to be doing better as well. I think someone a few in sort of the rows around me were saying that they thought James Morris could have got out a bit quicker as well, but I thought that was quite harsh. I mean, Lou Orns just picks up on that here, going, I think Backman expects Morris to get in the way. He was ball watching too. I think that's a bit harsh personally. I'm not sure what you think, Charlie.
I need to watch it again. I can't really remember what Morris, but if I'm just looking at the flight of the ball, the way it's going in, I'm expecting my left back to hit it. So I don't know if Backman's come out and they've kind of got in each other's way. Someone's not been commanding, but like you said, Sam, it is preventable.
Yeah, really, really poor goal to concede, considering Watford in their last two league games as well have been so solid defensively, with that 1-0 win against Norwich and that amazing 2-0 win last week against Blackpool. But I thought Watford responded quite well, actually. Vacuum Bayo hit the woodwork again with, it was quite a strange effort, actually. I think we just had the free kick floated in from the halfway line, and he sort of just managed to flick it on, and it sort of kissed the top of the crossbar. But the second half, I thought we came out the blocks quite well, and we equalised through a lovely finish from João Ferreira making his first start for Watford. Charlie, what are your thoughts on the equaliser?
Yeah, he was good, I thought. João Ferreira looked bright, good touches on the ball, moves up the pitch really well, tries to link up. Like, remember the last couple of seasons between kind of Sarr and Firmino, that link up. Obviously, it wasn't as slick as that, but there was early signs of it. And he's just latched onto a loose ball, driven in, and he's hit it really, really well. And it's gone in. when he came in, I wasn't too sure about how he'd fit in. I was thinking with the Championship, could it be tough for him? But I think he's made a pretty bright start. If obviously we've got loads of injuries, and I think if we're a team who we should be dominating possession, we're not at the moment. But I think if we've got him as an outlet on the right and Kamara, that's two pretty good attacking wing backs who should be able to help us break teams down.
Definitely. And I mean, again, we'll speak about Ferreira a bit more in the player ratings, but I've had a lot of shouts of certain right backs that that he reminds people of. Is there a particular Watford right back over the last few years that he sort of jumps out to you as reminding you of João Ferreira?
Yeah, I've heard like Yanmat. I think he's a bit more like Kiko, like that sort of stature, just because of his speed, really, and the agility, and he looks like he can get up. So if we can get a Portuguese Kiko, I think we wouldn't mind that. What about you? Is he a Kiko or a Yanmat or a Lloyd Doyley?
I wouldn't say he's a Lloyd Doyley. I certainly see sort of both parts to that. I think the goal yesterday certainly reminds me a lot of Daryl Janmaat, particularly the way he was sort of able to pick it up on the halfway line and drive forward. I remember at the time, because the ball sort of trickled in, I personally think the Rotherham keeper should have done a bit better. I know at least if it was Dan Backman, I would have expected better from him there. But that he sort of had the runners either side. I think it was probably Martins and Bayo. And in hindsight, watching it back, they actually did really well. And Kone as well made those runs to sort of, drive the defenders away and open up the space for Ferreira. And I was just thinking at the time, release it. They're making brilliant runs here. But then it sort of left his boot and it found its way into the bottom corner. But I think it's sort of the way that, I don't think he's unbelievable defensively from what we've seen so far, but going forward, he does look good. And that reminds me a lot of Kiko Femenia. But sort of going forward from that after the goal, I think, a lot of it was Watford. We had a brilliant chance to win the game for Yasser Asprilla, who came on. Sort of Sarr was played through. Yasser. So frustrating. Sarr was sort of played through. Goalkeeper made a good save. It came out to Asprilla. It was a bit of an awkward bounce for him. But Charlie, do you think he's got to be scoring that?
Yeah, I think everyone knows he's got to be scoring it. It was very similar, I thought, to Adeyema's goal. The way Martins kind of broke off, keeper saved it, and then Adeyemo blocked off. I think confidence is such a big thing in football. And I think Yasser Asprilla is just at the moment, the minute he's in front of goal, he freezes up a bit. And he's got that bit of pressure where he's got those nerves that come in. When he gets on the half turn in the centre of the pitch, he looks carefree and he can thread beautiful balls through. I think I said in the group chat yesterday, I think if that went in, it would have been another really, really good moment this season at the Vic. Obviously, we were hunting down the game to get the 3 points. We were working hard. Obviously, Yasser hasn't scored yet. If he has a bit more composure, kind of calms himself down and just gets some, a good chest and some contact on it, I think that would have sent the Rookery wild and it would have been another really moment. I was gutted for him, and I just hope his first goal is a meaningful one. If he scores a consolation and we lose 3-1, I just want him to score an important one, and I think it will just get that weight off his shoulders.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like once he gets that one goal, I think we'll probably see that sort of weight lifted off his shoulders. And, we'll talk a bit more about Asprilla later, but he's certainly sort of bringing a lot of dialogue at the moment amongst Watford fans, whether he's good, whether he's not, whether it's just potential at the moment. And I sort of see all sides of that. But Rotherham had a brilliant chance as well to win the game through Fosu. I'm not too sure how he missed it there. Dan Backman did well, I thought, to sort of smother it. Why was he taking a touch, Charlie?
Been watching Yasser Asprilla in front of go, hasn't he?
Exactly.
Now, when I was trying to think about the game, I was like, did we deserve to win? Were we the better team? Was it just one of those where it just wasn't going to go in? Looking at the stats, I think we beat him on the XG. I think Gasper had 2 chances at least get one of them on target or work the keeper more. That was frustrating. And then, when they had their chance, my big problem was Sierralta, I think. And again, I know we're going to talk about the player ratings, but in a back four, he just doesn't look as solid. I think his decision-making, he just can't help himself. The minute he sees the ball, he's like, I'm getting the ball or the man. And he got dragged out. Our defence got dragged out. Ferreira got pushed in. Fosu was left. And that's the easiest chance of the game, isn't it? And let's give credit to Dan Backman. I don't think the finish was. I didn't think he had to work that hard, but it got out to him quickly, and he got a good save on it. So that's the annoying thing, and we have to caveat it with injuries. But did we deserve to win it overall? What do you think? What was the feeling inside the ground?
Well, I was just going to come on to. Yeah, I was going to come on to the overall performance there. Look, I think I can't fault the effort yesterday at all, to be honest with you. I think the effort was there. I think the application was there. I just think at the moment it's really just coming down to the injuries. I mean, it's no secret that, you sort of got Keenan Davis at a level over here, and Bayo can't really reach those heights at the moment. I think we're really missing that sort of eye for a pass and creativity from João Pedro. I think we're missing Imran Louza sort of picking it up deep and able to bring the ball forward. So, you laugh there, but we're missing so much at the moment. And I think without the injuries, we probably go on to win that yesterday. But, I'd actually say I came out of yesterday's game more encouraged, because I've seen enough there to say that if we keep those effort levels up that Slaven Bilic has implemented, with the injuries coming back as well, all right, automatic's probably a bit too far out of sight with Sheffield United winning and Burnley winning as well. But I think there's a lot to be encouraged by from that performance. I think that's probably an unpopular opinion for a lot of people, because we should be beating Rotherham at home. But I think with injuries coming back, I think we could be fine.
Yeah, it had a similar feel to that Coventry game when I felt like our application was good. Sarr missed an open goal from that cross. Coventry were really good at the time. Gorkarez ran as ragged. But we've seen a lot of games over the last couple of years when we concede, heads go down, body language, the lads don't know how to react. And I thought we did get a response. So I'm glad kind of the atmosphere and you're feeling, look, we know we should be taking those 3 points. But I thought what Bilic said at the end of the game was quite telling, where he said he hasn't given any of the players he likes all their effort. He saw that we're just missing the quality in the final third, which I think it's fair. And when I was kind of laughing when you talk about the injuries, I thought you were just going to go on for ages. But if we did have that full length team, we'd have the composure, the quality to put at least 2 more of those chances away, I'm sure.
Yeah, interesting. And another reason perhaps why some fans will argue that we didn't win the game yesterday. I mean, again, you can argue we got unlucky. We hit the woodwork 3 times through Bayo, through Gaspar, and through Martins. But a lot of people were very critical of the ref yesterday. What did you make of his calls? Did you think any of them should have been penalties?
To be honest, I was on a very dodgy stream and I had some interesting pop-ups, which were sometimes better viewing than the game. But I think looking at the penalties, I think the last one just before half-time, they've just gone straight through the back of Sarr. The only problem is Sarr does like to go down easily, so the ref's got that in his head. And I think every referee's got that in his head. So not that that's right or wrong, that it shouldn't be a penalty. That's just something that you've got to consider and maybe what the ref was thinking. I just think he's gone through the back of him. Like, he's come on the blind side and the defenders not know he's there. Next thing you know, and he's gone through him. I don't know. I didn't come away after trying to watch it thinking, the ref's been terrible. I felt like if we were better, we should have won it. He didn't cost us, but you were there and a lot of people were slating the ref. So was there other bits that were bad, other big decisions?
I just thought, to be honest with you, I mean, I think the penalty call that you mentioned, I think that was definitely a penalty. I don't know how it wasn't given, but some of the other calls, I know they were all the way up the other end from where I sit. It was towards the family stand. I sit in the rookery. Couldn't really see it too well, but I could tell they weren't penalties. But it was small, frustrating things. The lino was giving everything to them. Every 50-50 seemed to be given Rotherham's way, and I know that's not an excuse, but it's just a shame that I think everyone, sort of the officiating, got under everyone's skin yesterday. But we should be dispatching teams like Rotherham, as we've said, with all due respect to them. And, that their application was good as well. I thought they had a game plan, they executed it well. And with that miss from Foster at the end, I think they'll feel unfortunate not to go back to Rotherham with the 3 points. But let's move on to player ratings and join in with us in the comment section next to us here, and we'll get your comments up on screen because we do really enjoy interacting with everyone. Let's kick off with Dan Backman. We spoke about him a bit. What did you make of his performance out of 10?
I think a 5. I think we discussed it before. He made a solid save in the first half, and the Fosu one was a decent save. I just think for the critical moment for us, we conceded. I don't think his kicking has been as bad as it has been in previous months. So a 5 might be harsh, but I just think that moment got away from us, and that obviously meant that we didn't win the game.
Yeah, I'd actually agree here with Will. I'd go a tiny bit higher. I'd go with a 6. Obviously, he has to be doing better with the goal, but I think that save in the first half where he ended up clattering into the post as well. I don't know if anyone else remembers this, but it reminded me of a few years ago we played Chelsea and Christian Kabasele went sliding into the post and I think broke his arm actually. So I was slightly worried for a second there, but also that Fosu save at the end was a brilliant save. I think his kicking, I know you mentioned it there that you thought it was okay. I think it still needs to improve. A couple of kicks went absolutely nowhere yesterday. But as you say, he probably should have done better in the crucial moment. So I'd give him a 6 personally.
What did you think of his little coming together with Shane Ferguson?
Well, yeah, we should come on to that. I obviously in the crowd, and we're all. I mean, originally calling for the Rotherham player to get sent off, but then you see Bachmann do that, and it reminds me a lot of that Millwall game when we saw Watford eventually got frustrated and Kamara lost his head. And I did think for a split second there when the ref called Bachmann over, I was thinking, here we go again. I didn't think, looking back at it wasn't a red card, but we shouldn't be putting ourselves in those situations, should we?
Yeah, it was just a ridiculous moment where they've kind of come to clash. I think he's pushed Bachmann. Bachmann's half thinking he's angry, so I should go down and try and get him sent off, but he doesn't. He gets straight back up and puts his head, and he goes down. Like, it was a bit embarrassing for both, I think, and I bet they won't enjoy watching that back. But yeah, it's just one of those days for Bachmann, I think.
No, definitely. I think a yellow card for each was probably fair. Our goal scorer, João Ferreira, what did you make of his? Again, we've spoken about him a bit. But what did you make of his first start for Watford at Vicarage Road?
Yeah, encouraging, like very encouraging, and I think long term, I'm quite excited to see what he can do, and if he can give us another attacking option, which I don't think we've had, especially this season, he could be a really smart pickup, and some Helena Costa doing more good work. So, could give him, maybe it's harsh, but a 7, a solid 7.
I'd give him a 7 as well. It was a lovely goal, and I think the encouraging thing with Ferreira, I think he's got learning to do as well. So I think there's definitely more to come from him as he adapts to English football a bit more.
He's young, isn't he?
Yeah, he's young as well. So could have another good player on our hands. Let's move on to the centre backs. Craig Cathcart, who I thought had a really good game yesterday. Again, I thought particularly in those first, when Rotherham started to pile on the pressure a bit, I thought Cathcart did well. He was marshalling the defence. I could see it sort of from in the stand. I don't know how well you could see it on your stream. Probably give Cathcart a 7.
Yeah, I was going to give Cathcart 7. I think his best quality as a defender is just the composure. He's composed when the ball's coming over. He's timing in the tackle. You can always rely on him. Like when you see him playing, you feel like there's not going to be a mistake. We're a lot more assured. So, yeah, I'll give him 7.
Good stuff. And Francisco Sierralta.
Francisco. I just want him to be more solid. I've said it just earlier on. Like, I think the decision making coming out, like taking everything out, he kind of sometimes pulls our defense. And really, I think we could have been punished there for that Fosu goal. And I might be wrong. I think Kamara's position was bad for Coventry's goal at the Vic Gorkarez, but yeah, just sometimes our defenders' positioning or decision making not good. So yeah, Sierralta could probably give a 5.
Oh, 5. Oh, interesting. I'd go with a 6 again, to be honest with you. I think he did win some good headers in the air. I agree with you. I think sometimes his positional awareness isn't great. I think sometimes he switches off too easily, and I think that's why we sort of haven't seen him in his first season at Watford. I think we saw great potential in Sierralta, but I don't think he's probably hit the heights that we thought he could. I think that's probably because of lapses of concentration in his game.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like when he was so good in a couple of seasons ago in the Championship, I just think we had a lot more of a assured defence. Obviously, Troost was in there that we're going to talk about. But having Femenia and Messina, both at that level in the Championship, a lot more experience than we've got now. And I think that's helped him out, especially Messina, who kind of played kind of centrally. And I think that he's still got a lot to learn. But he's not as young as I thought he is now. I think he's like 25. So I'm hoping he can keep on getting better, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, definitely. But, in terms of experience and inexperienced players, I think James Morris obviously only played the first half yesterday. I don't think he was taken off for any reason because he was poor or anything like that. I just think, Kamara offers a bit more energy on that side. I was calling for James Morris to start, but there were good moments from him, particularly, with his passes going forward. At times, you could see the idea was right, just the execution was a bit off as well, or, Sarr wasn't on the same wavelength as him. But, I think some, as we spoke about before, some think he probably could have done a bit better with the goal. I also think it's so poor when you see players, putting in foul throws as well. That was pulled up on by the ref. I'd probably give him a 5, to be honest with you, as Ian here and Will says here.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm favouring him a bit too much, giving him too much leeway because he's young. But I thought he'd done a bit better. I'd give him a 6. I thought he's always looking up and he's trying to put those nice balls into Sarr behind the defenders. And if we're doing that to Sarr kind of 3-4 times a game, that's going to really turn the defence and cause them trouble. Not sure about the goal. Yeah, I thought he'd done all right. I thought a 6 again. But the foul throw, that's a fine. He's got to get fined for that.
Yeah, got to get fined for that. I just think it's so poor when players are putting in foul throws at this level. But look, as Nick says, it wasn't his normal net level. I'm not writing him off. I called for James Morris to start. I thought he should keep his place, and I've been full of praise with him over the last couple of weeks when he's come into the side. I saw he was slightly disappointing yesterday. But moving on to the midfield, Mario Gaspar, who I thought did well yesterday. Again, I thought he probably should have scored a couple of times. He got into some really promising positions. I'd give Gaspar a 7, actually.
Disagree with you, Sam. I really like Gaspar, and I think his application is, you can tell he's getting around the pitch, like maybe not as much as Chowdhury, but he's getting around the pitch, he's hustling and bustling, looking for the ball, and he's got that experience. I just think he was one of the areas where we lacked real any kind of creativity. Obviously had those 2 chances which you'd hope to do a bit better with. I don't know. I was quite surprised that Gaspar played the whole game on the pitch. I just wanted a bit more from him, to be honest. And I think if we had someone with a bit more quality, that could have helped us win the game. So probably a 6 for Gaspar for me.
Interesting. I mean, look, I do see. Ian saying here his natural position isn't the 6, and I think Gaspar playing in there. I know Bakuna was back on the bench yesterday, and Jack Greaves could have been available, but ultimately, it's a consequence of the injury situation. The reason why I thought he did well more than anything was because he did well, sort of filling in again, and I imagine that will be the last game unless there's another injury crisis that we see Gaspar in that position with players coming back from injury, but. Yeah, I think he's done well while he's filled in on the whole. But moving on to Hamza Chowdhury, who he played the whole 9. Did he play the whole 9? Yeah, he played the whole 90 yesterday. So that's a welcome return from injury. He split opinion yesterday. What did you make of him, Charlie?
Yeah, I think okay. Like I'll probably give a 6. I don't think he done anything amazing. I thought on the ball, again, like it's not his game, but like I'd love to see him start being able to spray passes, trying to break lines. It's just not his game. And I think games like yesterday where we're expected to win, we're looking at someone like him who we know is a good quality to do that. And he just needs an Imran Loser or a João Pedro to pass it to do that. Yeah, I'm a bit indifferent about Chowdhury yesterday. I'll probably give a 6.
Interesting. I mean, I think that's probably fair in terms of, as I say, split opinion. We see 2 sides of the spectrum. Ian saying it's a 7, Christian saying it's a 4. So it's, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think what he does well is he's combative. He wins the ball back. He's really good at getting his foot in there. He does this thing as well. He's got this certain form of tackle. I can't really explain it, but he's really good at getting his whole body in front of the ball as well. But it's just on the ball. I think when we got Imran Luz back and getting Kone in the right positions, I think we'll see an even better Hamza Chowdhury, hopefully. And I've been critical of him, but now he's been back from injury, seeing what this Watford side is with and without him, I think he is quite important to this side. But moving on to Ismail Kone, what did you make of him? I thought he was probably out of his game so far. Probably his saying it's his worst is probably harsh, but he wasn't at his best, was he?
No, but positionally, like again, and I think in the first half against Blackpool, he was really high up. Like sometimes it felt like he was part of a front three alongside Bayo and Sarr, and I just think he's one of the most composed, progressive, good on the ball players who can pass. I'd just like to see him a lot deeper. I know that's been said a couple of times before. I'd have loved him to be kind of where Gaspar was, and kind of maybe Asprilla where he was. Yeah, I just don't think he got involved enough, to be honest. And I don't know if that's a positioning thing. I don't know if that's a coaching thing, or Bilic isn't putting him in the most effective areas. But yeah, I wanted to see him a bit deeper. I don't think he had the best of game. I don't think he did anything horrific. I'd probably give it a 6.
Yeah, I think a 6 is fair. I just think, yeah, he's being played out of position. I think the balance with the midfield, when we got Hamza Chowdhury back, we got Imran Loser back as well with Kone. I just think that balance in the midfield will be perfect. I think it will allow everyone to play to their strengths, and I think we'll see an impact with that on the whole team.
I think it'd be good. I know we spoke about the idea about doing our strongest starting 11 after the transfer window, so hopefully we'll do that in a couple of weeks.
No,
but it'd be interesting if what that midfield looks like. I think if we've got kind of Chowdhury and Loser, maybe JP in front of him, and I would like to see. I think we see it with Asprilla. I think if Coney came onto the game, he'd want to get on it. He'd like to drive, and people are a bit tired. So yeah, not his best, but I think there's a lot more to come.
No, definitely. Mateus Martins, interesting game. I thought at points he was quite wasteful, while also at points I thought he looked like our most dangerous player. I'd probably give him a 6 as well.
Yeah, I told you he's like Cucho Hernandez.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like Cucho Hernandez. Like he looked bright at the early stages, making some good runs.
He's got to score that as well when he hit the bar in the second half.
Low, keep it low. Like I think he did it. Really, should have scored instead of Adeyemo. So it's good that he's getting in those positions. We got to remember he's only 19. But yeah, I think you're bang on about he should have scored, and in an ideal world, he could be a confidence player. I think we're yet to see the same thing, but I'm kind of keeping in my mind that he's only 19 and he's getting thrust into championship games, so I'd give him a 6.
Yeah, I'd agree with you with that. But Ismaila Sarr, I thought was poor yesterday, to be honest with you. I think particularly in games like yesterday, you're calling on a player of his quality to sort of light up the game and bring in energy. But I just think at points he looked a bit disinterested again. I'd probably give Sarr a 5.
Yeah, it's just the inconsistency that we're talking about. What I really liked about his Blackpool performance was where he was on the left, it felt like he kept coming inside to just get the ball and make things happen. And I just don't think he'd done enough of that today. And we've just seen in games he just kind of fades in and out of games. And I'll have to watch it back. Should he have scored that chance before Asprilla? I don't know, but it wasn't one of his best games. But that's what I think we talked about his inconsistencies.
No, definitely. And I think that summed it up pretty much the last 2 games where he can light it up against Blackpool and then, put in quite a poor performance against Rotherham, I thought. But up front, we had Vacuum Bayo. We sort of referenced it at the start as well, with sort of Keenan Davis as at one level, and Bayo just really isn't hitting that level. I actually thought he did okay yesterday, particularly in terms of holding the ball up and bringing other players in. I'd probably give him a 6.
Yeah, whatever I gave him last week, he gets one more. I think he was a lot better. Obviously, he made that through the club. He made the apology, which is good to see. He made a good run off the pitch when he got subbed. But I just think it shows how much we miss Keenan Davis and the way we're set up and the players we've got like Sarr, Asprilla, Martins. If we've got someone who's occupying their defenders, it's just going to create those guys so much more space. And sometimes you could just put balls in areas and Keenan Davis is going to go in there. He's going to win the ball. He's going to draw defenders away. And Bayo just doesn't have that presence. So, yeah, I'll probably give him a 6. But I can't wait for Keenan Davis to come back.
Yeah, buzzing for it. And obviously, hopefully next week as well, we'll have Henrique Araujo back coming into the side as well, which is really exciting. And
announce
on Wednesday's video, we just need it announced. I saw further up on one of the comments someone saying that he's now followed Watford on social media. So Good sign. It's a good sign. But we'll speak about that on Wednesday's video, and hopefully it would have been announced by then. Let's move on to the substitutes. Hassan Kamara, who played the second half, I thought he brought energy, but at times left the defensive shape, I thought, a bit unorganised. What did you make of it, Charlie?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I thought he played a couple of nice balls through, like quite proactive through to Sarr. And he can beat his man. I liked how he was getting on the outside. Like I remember those championship seasons, how many goals did we score from Sema cut into the byline? And Kamara's got that ability, especially with Sarr holding people up. We need to try and get more partnerships in this team. We can't because we've got all our injuries and half of them don't even know each other's name. But I thought Kamara was good defensively. I can't remember too much he did wrong, but like I said, I wasn't there. I didn't see it properly, but I'd probably give him a 6.
Yeah, I think a 6 is fair. I think a 6 is pretty much fair for a lot of these players. Yasser Asprilla. What do you make of Asprilla as a whole? Because I really like him. I put a tweet out about this earlier. I think there's definitely potential there. I think when he first came in, I don't think the plan was ever for him to play this much football as he has done. I think he started something like 16, 17 games already this season. But due to the injury crisis, obviously, we've relied on him quite a bit. He's just got to score, hasn't he? And as we said earlier, when that goal comes, I think we'll see confidence within the player. But what would you give him out of 10 yesterday?
I'd probably give him like a 6. But like, if we're looking big picture, this kid, I think, is going to be special. There's a reason he's playing for Colombia's first team already. He's already scored for Colombia. He's so young. He's come to a new country, doesn't speak a word of English yet, and he's about, I don't know, 5'6" and like very skinny. So he hasn't had that progression. If you look at João Pedro, what he is now, give him a year or two, I think he could be a really, really special player. And let's be honest, it looks like João Pedro could be leaving because we know how good he is. And I think we've got someone ready-made there. If we can kind of have that progress, who's going to be good. His passing's brilliant, so we need to get behind him.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you think back as well to Abdoulaye Doucouré when he first came in. You mentioned João Pedro. It did take them time, particularly physically, to adapt. And I think Asprilla, we've got a special player in there. It's just about getting behind him and hoping he finally gets that goal. Toby Adeyemo came on for the last 20 minutes or so. Didn't really touch the ball too much, but I thought he did well in terms of, he dragged runners sort of out of defenders out of position rather. He made intelligent runs which opened up space. It's difficult to give him a rating because he didn't really do too much on the ball, but probably a 6.
Yeah, it's a 6. Like, his application was really good. I thought harrying people down, like you said, good movement with the runs, but didn't have too much time to impress. So a 6. But again, it's great to see Slav throwing him on and Adu Poko as well. So it's an encouraging sign.
Yeah, Adu Poku's probably even more difficult to rate. There was one moment when in his first couple of minutes when he was on the pitch where he gave it away on the halfway line, and that could have easily cost us. But luckily it didn't. But more than anything, I'm just happy that we've seen another academy graduate come on.
Yeah, and like the discussion last week is he going to start Morris? He backed Morris, so look, we're going to have players coming back now. I just hope that we can see some of these lads sticking in the first team squad when appropriate, getting brought on. And just looking forward to the 5th round of the FA Youth Cup. Hopefully they can do well, and just if we could just see those small incremental changes to get this development and some lads nearer to our first team, I think that's going to keep us happy.
Definitely, and Watford will be facing Arsenal in that FA Youth Cup, and hopefully we got some content around that coming out soon. Slaven Bilic, to finish off, what would you give him out of 10?
It's a hard one because I really like Slav, and I'm trying to think what I'd have done differently. I think I mentioned it about Gaspar. Maybe only change him at half time for Asprilla. He's with what he's got at his disposal to try and win games in the Championship. I think he's doing a really, really good job. And there's only so much he can do. Like Asprilla's there, he should be tapping in to win the game. Do you know what I mean? Gaspar's got 2 chances. Martins, can he keep it low? So I think in terms of, I don't think he got it wildly wrong at all. I don't know what more he could have done apart from put his boots on and score ahead of himself. So I'll give him a 7. I love Slav. I thought what he said as well was he didn't blame the players at all. He said this is the reality. We need to be better in the final third, and I think he's bang on with that.
Yeah, I think a 7's fair. I saw Lou further up saying that he thought the subs were poor. I'm not really sure what else he could have done. So if you want to let us know in the comments if you think the subs could have been different, let us know and we'll talk them through. But a departure that it sort of happened quite fast yesterday morning, waking up to the news, or on Friday night, that William Troost-Ekong is off to Serie A. What do you make of it, Charlie? First of all, the move.
I'm gutted, to be honest. Like, really kind of shocked and gutted. I thought Troost was pivotal to us going up a couple of seasons ago. I thought a lot of Watford fans moan about our recruitment in defence, and I think that's a fair criticism of the Porteous. I think when Troost came in, we got a Nigeria international, came in, is playing in the Championship. And I thought he performed really well in the Championship. He had those leadership qualities. He arranged meetings. He's part of one of the best Championship defences statistically. In the Premier League, it didn't work out for him. I think confidence is a bit of a theme of this video, but I think he suffered massively from confidence issues in the Premier League. I think that's carried it over, and it just hasn't worked out. I just think he's a top man. I think he gets the club, so it's just a shame that he's going to be going, because I thought even if he comes on and bit part performances, or even if he got a run of games, I thought he did all right recently. He could have been important for us this season. So, look, if it's better from him, like I said, he doesn't want to lose his place in the Nigeria team. If he wants game times, if it's a better environment for him and his family, then fair play to him, and we wish him well. But I'm a bit gutted, but it makes me think that we're going to be active next week and there should be a replacement.
Yeah, just my words on William Troost-Ekong. Obviously, he's a Watford fan as well. I think his family, his in-laws are Watford fans. I think it's going to be a huge loss for us in terms of what he brings to the dressing room. Granted, there are probably sort of better players that we could get out there, and there's sort of no mistake that didn't work out for him in the Premier League. But I think he still probably had something to offer us in the Championship as well. Whenever I've interacted with him, he's someone who just seems to get the club. Lovely guy, and I wish him, I wish him nothing but the best for the future. We see here wishing him all the best for the future. I think we can find better quality, but wishing him, people want William to do well in the future, and I think that really sums up how Watford fans feel towards the player.
How can we forget? How can we forget that game against Luton this season?
Of course, exactly.
Goal, and then gives us that iconic moment when he waves off the player. I mean, that just summed up kind of the affinity he's got with Watford, and he knew what it means again that Luton game, and he put a performance in. So, yeah, best of luck, Troost, in what you're doing, and thanks for the service.
Definitely. And you talk about incomings. Luke here says Bilic seems confident 3 will be coming in this week. One player who's been heavily linked with us is Ryan Porteous. BBC Sport, which is always a sort of a good source for transfer rumours, they often don't really report unless something is pretty concrete. Seem to be suggesting that Watford are in talks for the Hibernian centre-back. I don't know too much about him, Charlie. Is there anything you could tell us about him?
Yeah, Adam reported that it looks likely, didn't he, yesterday? Yeah, I have to admit, I'm a bit sad for a 30-year-old man, but yesterday when the kind of rumours came out and the Troost thing, I spent a bit of time, a bit more detailed time looking on Wisecout, looking at all his clips, and I think it'd be a really exciting signing for us. I think he's 24, really good profile. Looking at the experience he's gained at Hibs, he's part of one of their leadership group at that age. The centre back, his biggest qualities are his passing range is unbelievable. He's got a great switch of play, breaking lines. That's going to be one of the areas, if he does join, that I think we're poor at, progressing through the thirds. So that could be a massive asset to have. Like I said, 24, good profile. Mentioned the leadership, the passing, looks quite good aerially. I think he's had a bit of a rough time of it at the moment. I think Hibs is quite a distable, quite a chaotic club at the moment. So coming into Watford, it's going to be he's going to fit right at home. But and I know a few Hibs fans have kind of got on his back. So I'm a bit when you see your own fans kind of slating him, it does worry me. But if I'm just looking at the stats and what I've seen through the clips, I think he could be a really, really good signing for us, not just for this season, but at 24, could he be a potential leader, captain for us for years to come?
Yeah, let's hope so. It's someone that I think we've monitored pretty much since the summer. I think I've heard his name around. I think he'll probably be joining Udinese and joining Watford on loan, and I imagine that will become permanent or another loan in the summer.
Yeah, I think Adam said differently in reports, said it would be more likely now that it's signed for Watford. His contract runs out, and he's stated, and I think today was his last game in the Edinburgh Derby, which he didn't have a great game. They lost 3-0. Yeah, I think he's a good character. He's a bit like, not Marmite, but he's one of those characters which all fans love and the away fans absolutely hate. And I don't think we've had someone like that since like Troy Deeney. So he's a bit like Aaron Ramsdale or someone like that, a bit of a character. So I think he could be fun. And I think Blackburn tried to bid like 500 grand for him. So if we could get, I'm sure we'd have to put down a fee for him, but I think for a long-term investment, it could be a very good signing.
Definitely. Do you think he comes into the team for Craig Cathcart or Sierralta?
I'd have to say Sierralta. I know I don't know so much Bilic, but I remember Rob was always talking about the need for a left foot centre half for that balance. Obviously, Courtney Hoare situation, which we don't want to go into too much, but we can do. But he's right-footed. But I just think if he gets his new home, if he just feels that confidence, I think he could be a good player. Him and Cathcart. Cathcart's got that experience. He could kind of help him alongside, educate him, show him what the ropes are like. So I'm really hopeful that this deal could be done, because at the start of the window, especially when Bilic talked about he wants a winger, attacker, and midfielder, I'm like, I still think we need an upgrade on the defence, especially if looks like we're likely to be in the playoffs. We're going to need to improve defensively, because if we're struggling against Rotherham, we're going to need to be better against better teams. So interesting, Luke said there about he can play in a 6. I think that his passing ability is just one of his biggest strengths, and I can't remember a centre half that we've had at Watford who's had that passing ability. So yeah, hopefully we can get it done, and it'll be a good signing for us.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure that will, from what we're hearing, it should be done the next couple of days along with Araujo. Charlie, to end off today's video, you said you got an agree to disagree to go through.
I have got an agree to disagree. When I think it was in our WhatsApp, I think Andy Lewis dropped a message and sort of saying the whole, do we want to get promoted? Do we want to stay in the Championship debate? And it got me thinking. So Sam, do you agree or disagree that it would be better if Watford didn't go down? No, let me do that again. Slaven Bilic will stay at Watford and be the Watford manager at the start of next season if we're still in the Championship. Agree or disagree?
It's tough. I'll probably disagree. I think the Pozzos will sack him if we don't go up, to be honest with you. Really? I think Ben Manga and Helena Costa would probably want to bring in their own appointment to work with over the next few years. And I think obviously the Pozzos looking for instant success this season, or ultimately there's consequences for the manager. And I think Slaven Bilic will be the one to pay the price if we don't get promoted.
I don't know how much, I may be wrong, and I know Manga's talked in his interviews about his role kind of overseeing anything, but I don't know how much influence they'd have, say, in managers. I don't know if they've done that at previous clubs at all. I was just thinking, if we don't go up this season, which is probably likely the way we're looking, and we can keep hold of Slaven Bilic, who has worked with these players for like 6+ months, it would kind of give me that bit of excitement. I'd be interested to know what everyone thinks about in the comments, if you think he'd get sacked or do you think he'd walk. But if we didn't go up and we had Bilic at the helm next season after a pre-season, I'd be quite excited. Would you not? Because I feel like if we don't go up and then we sack the manager and go again, it would just be a bit like, here we go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I see your point. I'd love it if Bilic stayed. I'd even if we didn't go up, I think he's the one, to be honest with you. We assume, I reckon, regardless of if we go up, I think Saul will probably leave in the summer with a year left on his deal. whether João Pedro stays if we go up or stay down remains to be seen. But build the team around the likes of Asprilla. Hopefully we're able to get the likes of Keenan Davis and Hamza Chowdhury back. I think we're probably on to something quite good. But you know, I think Bilic would probably want assurances as well, depending on whether he'd stay or not.
Yeah, it depends. Like, you don't know the motive. Maybe he could go to another top league in Europe. I just think he's been around the game. If he enjoys it and he's settled, I don't know. Like, the Championship's got to be one of the best. Got to be one of the best leagues now. And look at the money that's gone into it. And I think if that connection with Ben Manga and Helen Acosta is solid with Gino, and they've got a good thing going on, another window under those guys to bring in some exciting players. Yeah, I'd really, really hope he could stay, but we'll have to see. We know what Gino's like.
we know what Gino is like. Charlie, thank you so much for joining me today, mate.
No worries. Thanks for having me, mate.
No worries. We'll be back again on Wednesday for another video where we're expecting, hopefully, that there'll be some more transfer news to talk about. Hopefully, a couple of incomings. Araujo, as we spoke about, Porteous, as we've spoken about today. Make sure to look in the description for our socials. Like, subscribe to WD18, and we'll be back again for another video up the Horns.